Adelia knew that Lady Joanna was the Crown Prince's nanny, and everyone who was important to His Highness was also important to her. The face of the main maid of honor softened slightly when the girl asked to be allowed to show her respect in this way. Adelia knew Lady Joanna's fate from the book. She was brought to the palace by the Empress, and it would be beneficial to maintain a good relationship with her. In addition, in the book, Joanna lost her son due to illness, and immediately after that she died under the wheels of a carriage. She is a minor character with a tragic fate. After her death, the Crown Prince lost his dear friend, and nanny rolled into one, and I never recovered from it. The culprits behind her death were nobles who opposed the Crown Prince, but he never found out about it. If you think about it, this story is not touching at all. It is tragic. "Milady, are you okay?" Joanna asked, puzzled by the girl's long silence, and Adelia emerged from her thoughts, making excuses that she was simply tired. His Highness mentioned that he would send her a maid, but she never saw her. Joanna explained that the maids had come with her and suggested that they look at their profiles first. Adelia took into hand the personal affairs of the 3 maids assigned to her by His Highness. The maid of honor smiled and noticed that my lady was very important to His Majesty. He was careful in choosing his maids, but the girl herself strongly doubted it. Barry is the knight's eldest daughter. Anna is the second daughter of the Viscount. Adelia was delayed on the 3rd case. Lily Volt is the daughter of Count Volt. Why would the daughter of a nobleman, a count, become a maid of the Crown Princess? Oh, this is so obvious, the girl thought in anticipation. Most ladies-in-waiting are daughters of viscounts or other nobles of lower rank. There are no adult women in the imperial family now, so there is no one to attend high society meetings, which means that the daughter of a nobleman with a title higher than viscount does not make sense to become a maid of honor. The only reason why such a girl would want to serve someone from the imperial family was because of some kind of political plan. Most likely, she aims to become a crown princess or wants to become the wife of another prince. If the former is true, then obviously Lily is trying to hurt her. They are both daughters of earls, so she probably thinks she has a chance. Miss Lily volunteered to be a maid of honor herself, the girl asked Joanna, and she replied that it was so, and she should not worry about it. She will soon become crown princess. Ladies of her status often have noble ladies-in-waiting. Joanna asked if she should now invite the ladies-in-waiting to my lady's chambers, to which she received an affirmative answer. One by one, the 3 girls entered Adelia's chambers. Joanna introduced the girls by name. Anna and Barry politely greeted and introduced themselves, adding that from now on they would serve Lady Adelia. The girl also greeted them warmly, and she fell silent, turning her attention to the 3rd girl. "Hello?" Lily said without any politeness, and her glance from under her brows did not bode well. Noticing this look, Adelia wondered how long she would look at her so fiercely. It was literally written on her face. "I hate you." Adelia was glad to meet all the ladies-in-waiting and asked them to take good care of her. "Thank you for the invitation to dinner, Your Majesty." The future crown princess bowed elegantly. The entire imperial family sat in front of her at a huge table. The emperor himself allowed the girl to sit down. The younger prince and princess were very happy to see the girl and very vigorously expressed their joy. And Lucian pushed back his chair and, like a true gentleman, invited the girl to sit down. Taking her seat, Adelia thanked His Highness. For some time in the silence, only the sound of cutlery being used with which food was taken could be heard. Having tasted the first bite, the girl could not help but notice that the food was divinely delicious. Does the imperial family really eat such dishes every day? The emperor, like a loving father, offered a piece of meat to Ariana, and the girl wanted her guest to try it too. Adelia was touched by how much the princess's family doted on that soul. Her cheeks were about to burst. Although these were happy moments, the girl suddenly became sad. This is what a real family looks like, she thought. It's about eating delicious food with everyone else, laughing and chatting rather than eating empty rice alone. All her life she dreamed of such a family. But now there's no point in measuring family happiness, and she persuaded herself to give up this idea. Suddenly someone moved a plate with a dish closer to her. It was Prince Lucian, who greatly surprised the girl with his action. Why did he do this, the girl wondered. Following him, Ariana pushed several dishes towards Adelia, saying that they were very tasty, and the girl should definitely try them. Another person carefully pushed a plate towards her. Embarrassed and blushing, Lawrence invited her to try this dish. Adelia looked in shock at the table laden with plates. She was touched to the depths of her soul. "Thank you all," the girl smiled, trying to hide her emotions and embarrassment. Dinner continued in a pleasant family atmosphere. Everyone was eating, laughing, and chatting. At the end of the dinner, there were various desserts. It was late, and the maid wanted to take Ariana into the room, but the girl became capricious that she wanted to play some more. The emperor noticed that it was time for the little princesses to go to bed, and tomorrow there would be time to play, and wished his daughter good night. The baby agreed with her father and said goodbye to everyone, finally asking Adelia to play with her again tomorrow. The girl happily agreed, saying that they would definitely see each other tomorrow. When the door closed behind the baby, the emperor began a serious conversation. He asked if the girl planned to hide the fact that she was a white magician, and the girl agreed, at least for a while, because everyone already knows that Boss Eileen is a white magician, so she cannot allow so that it becomes known that she is the leader. You are the head of Eileen. Lururans experienced indescribable surprise from such news. The emperor and crown prince looked at him silently as if he were slow-witted. The boy loudly asked whether it was true that Adelia was the head of Eileen, and whether his father and brother knew about it, and it turns out that he was the only one who didn't know. Trying to cool his brother's ardor, Lucian asked if he had forgotten how to behave at table, or maybe he wanted to take etiquette lessons again. The emperor, in turn, told his son that he had not heard anything about him since his return, and now he was also making a scene. And the girl, smiling, confirmed that she was the head of Eileen. But she didn't tell him anything because she created the company secretly, hiding her identity. Lawrence could not understand that Adelia, his brother's future wife, was the head of Eileen and a white magician. Earlier that day, after returning from a hunt, he had heard talk that the girl who had managed to meet the crown prince alone, the daughter of Count Vitus, had arrived at the palace. Everyone around was talking about how she was already the crown princess. Lawrence was unhappy that his brother was getting married. He was sure that she was unworthy of him. He thought that this girl simply wanted to gain the influence and wealth of his brother. But the girl who is now sitting in front of him is not what he imagined her to be. Adelia is simply incredible. Prince Lawrence could not hide his admiration. The boy's eyes became incredibly large and shiny. A blush of embarrassment and admiration covered his cheeks, and Adelia couldn't help but notice how cute he was at that moment. The emperor asked his son not to shout, and he reluctantly agreed, and Lucian coughed delicately, returning to the interrupted conversation. He was interested in how many other people knew that she was a white magician. And when Adelia replied that she was only her deputy, the emperor sternly asked whether he could be trusted. The girl immediately replied that, of course he could be trusted, because he was her slave, that is, a faithful partner. In turn, she asked who was aware of their agreement. She was told that for now, only those present at the table. But they planned to soon inform the head of the Imperial Guard and the leader of the secret detachment, since they are responsible for security in the palace. If it's only 2 people, then it's okay, the girl agreed. The emperor had heard that she was planning to start selling artifacts, and he wanted to know when she would start. Once again, Lawrence could not help himself, and asked loudly and in surprise if they meant different objects that contained magic, for which he again received a remark and a disapproving glance from his father, instantly becoming silent. Adelia will begin selling artifacts only after the sales of magic stones have been established. Orders will be accepted in advance, and only from those who meet her requirements. The artifacts will also be magically tied to the buyer. This way, no one can abuse them. What are the requirements? The ruler asked. For example, the girl said, she will not sell the artifact to those who have ties to crime, or those who are members of the Assassin's Guild. Or he works for the nobles as a mercenary or soldier, she added. In this case, the imperial family will become her first client. His Majesty wants her to create the best quality artifact for them and is willing to pay any price. The girl replied that she had already prepared everything necessary, since she was going to give it to the princess. And they don't have to pay, it can be considered part of her dowry. But the emperor firmly said to just send him a check. Adelia insisted that she creates artifacts herself, and it costs her nothing. But the emperor was adamant check. The man thought that Ariana already adores her. If she also receives a gift, they will become inseparable. But he cannot allow this to happen. Okay, Your Majesty. The girl nevertheless agreed. She understood that the emperor was jealous, because he believed that this would make him and the princess even closer. Yes, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. It's immediately clear where the prince got such character traits from, but she still won't object to the money. Besides, this will not be the only gift from her to the princess, the girl thought slyly. Dinner continued with tea drinking and conversation. The ruler said that the kingdom of Tassel is now in a state of war and asks for their help. In exchange, they offered to give them a mine that extracts magic stones. Adelia was surprised. This is a kingdom that does not like strangers. She heard that they refused the help of the allied kingdoms, even when they began to lose the war, to which the ruler noticed that the girl was well informed. And indeed, their arrogance led to the fact that the state almost completely destroyed. "I don't recommend helping them," Adelia said calmly, taking a sip of tea. "The chance of victory is slim, especially considering how much money Tassel can invest in the war compared to their opponents." "How do you know about this?" asked the emperor. "Tassel are one of the clients of the Eileen Company lately. Their organizations have been purchasing less and less magical supplies, although they are necessary for their main weapons. What kind of victory can we talk about if they don't have enough funds to produce weapons?" "Adelia's company will terminate the contract with Tassel after another order. Eileen does not do business with those who are doomed to failure," the girl added, and the emperor understood why she was at the head of the company, even if she was younger than Lucian. The fate of Eileen is entirely in Adelia's hands, and judging by the summary profitability analysis, the turnover of funds in Eileen functions in the same way as in any kingdom, but on a smaller scale. At the moment, Eileen is certainly capable of shaking the power in the small kingdom. The ruler is even glad that Adelia is on their side, and he is almost sorry that she is connected with them only by a fictitious marriage. "It's not surprising that you're the boss of Eileen," the man praised. "You probably know a lot about the organization's clients." The girl confirmed that she personally studies each contract, and remembering, happily said that they were planning to start producing new jewelry. "These will be women's jewelry with pink diamonds." After these words, each of those present became wary. "Do you think such jewelry will suit Ariana?" asked the emperor. Of course, the girl grinned, understanding what feelings they might be experiencing right now. "The princess will look so good in them, as if they were created especially for her." Before she had time to finish speaking, each of the men wanted to immediately buy back all the jewelry that had not yet been made. "That's what we'll do," the girl laughed. The ruler noted that if Adelia had no other plans, he would like her to attend every dinner they had. The satisfied girl smiled happily. It would be an honor for her. "By the way, there will be a banquet soon." Lucian, sitting next to him, turned to Adelia. "You will need to attend it with me." The girl was very surprised by this turn of events. Of course, she was Lucian's fiancé, Lawrence added, and their engagement party had not yet taken place, so she must appear somewhere before the wedding took place. Adelia noticed that it would be full of people who hated her. This was already giving her a headache, but she thought that she was the bride of the crown prince, about whom nothing was known, and who appeared suddenly. Of course, everyone would be interested in looking at her. They will all be divided into two groups, those who want to harm her and those who want to get close to use her. He noticed that she had nothing to worry about. He would be by her side, and besides, he was sure that she could stand up for herself. The girl was very surprised by the sudden words of support. Apparently, nothing can be done. Although she wanted to appear less often in high society, this is not at all for her. "But she will have to attend the event as the prince's bride," the girl said coquettishly. Still, she is looking forward to something, her hand clenched into a fist. How they will look at the new crown princess. After a long dinner, Adelia returned to her room and immediately threw herself on the bed. The girl was very tired and felt that she wanted to sleep, but did not want to work at all. If it weren't for the company's business, she might have already gone to bed. The girl got out of bed and went to the chest of drawers, thinking that she needed to quickly finish everything and go to bed. But what she saw, or rather didn't see, made her surprised. The box, stored in the top drawer of the chest of drawers, gaped empty. The lack of an item she needed so much for her work was very discouraging. At first, Adelia thought that he was lying together, and therefore she looked through all the suitcases, all the documents, all the secluded places in the room. "I was robbed," the girl either asked or stated the fact. If she had known this would happen, she would have cast a locking spell on the box. Someone would have taken her communication stone. Raising her hands, Adelia created a small yellow ball of magic. Still, it's good that it occurred to her to use another spell that records everything that happens upon arrival at the palace. A cloud of magic, formed into a ball, began to show a recording. Who would dare to steal things from the imperial estate, she wondered, considering the events of today. Here she was having tea with the crown prince. "I met my maids and ladies-in-waiting." The girls then helped her prepare for dinner with the imperial family. Adelia dwelled on what happened next in more detail because the ball showed Lady Lily Volt rummaging through her chest of drawers. Well, of course she thought it was Lily. Lady Volt is that daring thief. Turning around, Adelia slowly walked towards the window. Having opened it, the girl remembered that she had forgotten to do something. Returning to the bed, she cast a small spell just in case. On the bed, it took the shape of a sleeping body, and the girl thought that no one except the swordsman would understand that it was a fake. Loudly, so that the guards outside the door could hear, Adelia announced that she wanted to rest and asked not to let anyone in until she called. "I obey," the guards answered. The girl took a step through the open window and instantly disappeared into the evening air. Lily Volt was in her room, the window of which was wide open. She couldn't believe how such a woman could become the crown princess and was completely sure that she had somehow deceived His Highness. Lily is sure that Adelia used her pretty face to seduce the prince. The girl herself had been looking at Prince Lucian with loving eyes for a very long time, and when the imperial family announced the crown princess, Lily really asked her father that she wanted to become the maid of honor for this crown princess, and Count Volt eventually agreed. Lily was going to tell her right away if she found something suspicious in her chambers, but she didn't think that Adelia would bring a communication stone of such excellent quality to the palace. It's very suspicious. She probably got it illegally, the girl is sure. Maybe through it she communicates with her accomplice. Squeezing the stone in her hands, Lily decided that she urgently needed to tell His Highness about this. But before she could finish her thought, a sudden strong wind ruffled her hair. In the shining moonlight, Adelia Vita stood in the dark opening of the window of the maid's room. "What are you going to tell His Highness?" she asked Lily, thereby frightening her. It seemed that the girl was not angry at all and just wanted to hear the answer to her question. But the maid, out of fear, dropped the stone of communication from her hands and it fell to the floor. Stammering, Lily asked how the lady ended up here, to which Adelia replied that she came through the window. It turns out that a thief had broken into the palace, so she came to catch him and return her things. Saying all this, the girl used magic to pick up the stolen stone. Taking the stone in her hands, she realized that Lily had never used it and probably didn't even understand with whom this stone allowed her to communicate. The maid did not understand what was happening. The lady continued that even if she understood, she would simply erase her memory. "Why did you need my communication stone?" she asked the girl. But when Lily couldn't say anything intelligible, she continued that it was obvious that she wanted to talk to the one he was set on. If this person had not been connected with the castle, she would have reported on her, said that she was in cahoots with suspicious individuals, and probably thought that having learned about this, Her Majesty would immediately abandon her. Lily realized that Adelia knew her plan, but if this girl had nothing to hide, she would not have entered her room through the window like that. Plucking up courage, she replied that the lady got here through the window, also at night, which means that this stone of communication is definitely here illegally, or she wants to harm His Highness. From such assumptions of the maid, Adelia only grinned. "As a maid of honor, I simply cannot close my eyes to this," Lily screamed. But it seems she has forgotten who made her maid of honor and whom she serves. Adelia did not understand whether she was naive or just stupid. Who would even think of sneaking an illegal stone of communication into the castle? Without permission, it simply would not have gotten here. Even peasant children know about this. Saying all this, Adelia slowly approached the girl, and finding herself close to her, noticed that since she believed that someone wanted to harm His Majesty, then she knew nothing at all about the Crown Prince. Meanwhile, in Prince Lucian's office, the head of the guard was on his knees reporting to the Crown Prince that his guest was missing. Dawn asked for forgiveness. He felt through the door that her energy had changed, and he knocked. "There was no one in the room," Lucian asked sternly. The guard's head hit his forehead on the floor, admitting that it was his fault and asking His Highness for forgiveness. Really, after everything that happened, she decided to just run away, the prince thought. The Dawn volunteered to immediately begin the search, but the prince stopped him, not seeing the need for it. He'll take care of it himself. "Lily Volt, you're the daughter of a count. You should probably know how the imperial family conducts business," Adelia remarked condescendingly, and her tone made the girl's heart skip a beat. If Adelia had been suspected of something, she would have been executed immediately, even if no evidence had been found. Realizing that she had made an irreparable mistake, Lily began to back away. Adelia continued that only one thing was really important right now, that this communication stone is completely legal. Lily Volt became more and more aware of her mistake. Was the stone really legal? Was the lady really not participating in a conspiracy against the imperial family? But she was so sure that someone was directing her. But if this is not so, then what has she done? When she had nowhere to retreat, Adelia slammed her palm against the wall in front of the girl's face and asked what would happen to her now, because she had made a big mistake. I wonder what will happen if she tells everyone that her communication stone was stolen. Perhaps the maid of honor will be lucky and get off with a light punishment after all. She is the count's daughter. But what if she tells His Majesty personally about this? What do you think? Adelia asked, clasping the girl's throat with her hand. In that case, you can get out. The mistress's voice acquired a threatening tone. Please have mercy. Without hesitation, Lily fell to her knees in front of Adelia. But she only added that she should be grateful that she came to her secretly. Adelia materialized a recording spell. She has all the evidence of the girl's crime, so she can publicly punish her at any time. Lily bowed her head even lower and begged for mercy. She decided to steal from the palace. She'll be lucky if she only loses her arm. She herself knows that she could be locked in prison, or they might even be beheaded. Of course, the punishment does not have to be carried out in front of everyone. She can punish her herself if she wants. And do this until she gets tired of it, Adelia concluded, releasing magical power outward. The maid of honor clung to the mistress's dress, asking to forgive her. She did this out of her stupidity, but she is ready to do anything to be forgiven. Adelia looked with contempt at the count's daughter groveling in front of her. Well, the rules in the palace are indeed sometimes too cruel, she reassured Lily, and she added that she should remain on probation for a week. And after that, she herself will ask to leave the maids of honor and leave the palace. And before the banquet takes place, Lily will have to drink tea with as many noble families as possible. Of course, I will think about my mistakes, the girl began to repent. But then the meaning of what the mistress said came to her, and she raised her head in surprise, asking if she had understood correctly. Adelia repeated that Lily would have to spread rumors about her, saying that the future crown princess dines with the imperial family every evening, that they are already talking about an imminent wedding, and that she has given Ruth Castle, which is now being restored. The girl was taken aback. What if this all turns out to be untrue? It won't turn out that way, Adelia said confidently. As long as you don't insult me and spoil the reputation of the imperial family, you have nothing to fear. At the end of their conversation, the lady asked if Lily could handle it, and she answered so confidently that she would do everything. In the eyes of the maid of honor, the future crown princess changed in an instant. The girl was fully confident that she would be executed or locked in prison if she were in her place. She would immediately run to tell the crown prince about what had happened, or she would have severely punished the thief herself. Don't tell anyone about what happened today, Adelia warned, returning to the window. If you spill the beans, I'll come up with another punishment. Having promised this, Lily thought with delight that she was so strong, but still spared her. Turning around, Adelia stepped out the open window, leaving Lily Volt alone with her thoughts. The lady is so generous and elegant. That's probably why she became the crown princess, the girl said into the void. Lady Adelia is simply amazing. At this time, Adelia, moving with the help of magic to her window, felt a chill run down her back. She noticed the full moon hanging low in the sky without a single cloud. It took longer than she expected. It's time for her to return. A few moments later, she approached the window of her room. Stepping onto the windowsill, she exhaled with relief. It seemed that no one noticed her absence. Realizing this, the girl with a calm soul was about to enter the room. At that moment, someone sharply pulled back the curtain from the side of the room. It was Crown Prince Lucian. Out of surprise, Adelia stumbled and began to fall back. But she was intercepted by a strong male hand, which prevented her from falling and being crushed into a cake. Then the girl was pulled closer to the man by this same hand. He scared me, thought Adelia, noticing out of the corner of her eye that her room was quite high from the ground. Involuntarily, the girl's hand, which she automatically placed on the prince's chest, felt something hard. Lucian noticed this too. Without realizing what she was doing, Adelia continued to feel the prince's hard chest in admiration. But soon the realization of what she was doing came to her, and the girl in a hurry pulled her hands away, which again almost fell out of the window. And again she was grabbed by strong male hands. This time the man hugged the girl closer to himself in order to avoid repeated attempts to commit suicide. "Where have you been?" came the question. A few minutes earlier, Lucian and the head of the guard came to the room of the missing guest, and they immediately noticed the window that was wide open. Lucian was again surprised that the girl decided to run away, and Dawn was still eager to go in search of her, promising not to attract attention. But His Highness reiterated that there was no need for this. Even though there was a protective spell cast on the palace, Adelia could still use magic, and she can easily disappear if she wants. Dawn was surprised because they signed a contract, to which Lucian replied that next year, when they amend it, he will add a new clause to the terms. The contract does not discuss the possibility of her escaping, which means that if Adelia disappears for a while and returns only to renew the contract, this will not be grounds for its termination. She herself wanted to become the crown princess and even asked for it, so Lucian did not expect that she would decide to run away, and thereby made a mistake. The prince released the head of the guards, saying that he could be free. Left alone in the room, the man headed towards the bed. He threw back the blanket. And immediately I felt a flow of white magic. Adelia is meticulous even when there is no need for it, he thought with a smile. But then a barely audible sound was heard from the window. This seemed suspicious to the prince, and he decided to check what was the source of the noise. Apparently, she hadn't escaped, Lucian decided, pulling back the heavy curtain. But as soon as he jerked his hand sharply, he heard a muffled scream. The frightened girl, taken by surprise, fell from the window. Without hesitation, the man extended his hand to her, and he managed to grab the girl by the waist, preventing her from falling. Then he picked him up, hugging him to himself. At this moment, the man and woman were closer than ever to each other. They looked fascinated into each other's eyes, caught off guard by the awkward situation. "What's so hard? It looks like armor," the girl asked, feeling his chest without a second thought. Gradually, it dawned on her, but Lucian could not say a word due to the unusual nature of the situation. Frightened by her actions, Adelia let go of her hands and almost fell again. But she was caught again by Lucian. This time, the prince hugged the girl closer to him so that she would definitely not go anywhere. "Where have you been?" he asked directly. Adelia did not know what to answer. Not a single thought came to her mind. And the prince just stood and waited for her answer. He is too close, the girl noticed. His face prevents her from thinking. Then she put her hands forward, thereby asking the man to move away from her. But it had no effect, as if she was trying to push a stone wall away from her. On the contrary, grabbing the girl by the hands, the prince asked why she was pushing him away. Maybe she wanted to run away again as soon as he let her go. The girl tried to be indignant that he addressed her on a first-name basis, but the man did not seem to hear her and insisted that although the contract did not stipulate such a case, he still would not allow her to escape. Adelia wanted him to let go of her hands, but Lucian was not going to let her go, at least not while the contract was still in force. "That's not the point," the girl noted, blushing. "You're just too close." Realizing what she meant, the prince smiled. "You seem to like the way I look," he remarked, and Adelia thought that this was a huge problem. Still, Lucian let go of the girl and sat down on the sofa, while Adelia nervously paced near the window. Making fun of her turned out to be more fun than the man thought, and he asked if she had cooled down, to which the girl replied that everything was fine. It was already late, but at the same time they asked each other questions. She was interested in what he was doing here, and he was interested in where she had been. And each of them wanted to be the first to hear the answer to their question, not wanting to give in to the other. In the end, the girl gave up and replied that she had just gone away for a minute to return the missing item. "Return it?" Lucian asked with a metallic note in his voice. "Something was stolen from you." "Yes," the girl answered, showing the stone of communication. "But now that what was stolen is already with her, everything is in order. This stone belongs to her company, however. It is not for sale. She uses it in her work." The prince was interested in who stole it. If she named the name, he would immediately punish the thief. Remembering Lily, Adelia replied that there was no need. She ordered the thief to leave the palace as soon as possible, and also assigned a small task. But His Majesty could not calm down. Someone dared to steal the thing of a member of the imperial family. For such a crime, her punishment was not serious enough. Adelia thoughtfully said that the imperial family already holds all power in its hands. It is not necessary to punish so harshly for misdeeds every time. Sometimes it is necessary to show mercy. To be honest, this is partly her fault too. Lucian crossed his arms over his chest, not understanding what she meant by this. This stone of communication turned out to be defective. So it is not for sale. Artifacts of white magic sometimes fascinate people. And this stone of communication has a special energy, and it was created with the help of white magic. And this is the energy that enhances human desires. Adelia is sure that the stone fueled the lady's desire to get rid of her, which is why she stole it. If it were an ordinary communication stone, the girl doubted that anyone would want to steal it. But Lucian had never heard of such a thing and asked to look at the subject of the conversation. Not many people know enough about white magic, so this is quite natural, Adelia added, handing the stone to the prince. Feeling the stone in his palm, Lucian did not feel any other manifestations of it. But at that moment the stone came to life, surprising both the girl and the man holding it, and a joyful voice was heard from it. "Finally, boss." In the blink of an eye, Adelia grabbed the stone from the prince's hands and squeezed it tightly. The stone of communication could not withstand the applied forces and crumbled into pieces. Why did he manage to contact me right now? The girl was mentally indignant, cursing her assistant. And she remembered that she was not alone in the room. Lucian watched her reaction and just as calmly asked who it was. But the prince's posture could say a lot about him. Adelia Vita was at a loss, not knowing what to say in her defense. She tried to think of something, but not a single sensible thought came to the girl's head. "Do you have a lover?" Lucian asked, still outwardly calm, causing the girl to be indignant at this assumption. Apparently, that's why, when they drew up the contract, Adelia said that she was not against the prince having a mistress, which means she herself wanted to take advantage of this privilege. The girl was seriously angry. She didn't want to use any privilege, and the prince misunderstood everything. But for Colin to be her lover, never, but she would rather die in splendid isolation. Having calmed down, she explained that it was her deputy Colin. She told him to contact her only at night, since she now lives in the palace, but he did it at the wrong time. "It was not stated in the contract that my bride is allowed to have a lover?" Lucian's voice sounded muffled. "Therefore, he is the only one with whom Adelia is allowed to be." At these words, spoken in a changed voice, the girl looked into the prince's eyes and blushed slightly. The prince misunderstood everything, so he was slightly annoyed by the situation. And this, by the way, is double standards.
Like this video. Hit the like button and subscribe for more videos.